Almost 8 years has passed since we had the last Evangelion movie, You Cannot Redo, or Q. The film was a bit confusing and its resolution left more questions than answers. Many of us were expecting those answers to be addressed in the next couple of years, but as I said, we had to wait 8 long ones. So, during that time, if we wanted answers, we had to read fan theories. Some of them wacky and over the top, others pretty much grounded and feasible. The fact is that in a few days from now, we will get factual answers from Anno himself through the final movie. The purpose of this video is to go over the questions that I have regarding the Rebuild continuity, and that I expect 3+1 to answer. I am not going to go over all of the questions that I have, but rather the most relevant ones. So, this is my list. You might have yours. Please feel free to share them on the comment section down below. But I'm pretty sure that we share at least one of the questions on this list and hope to be answered by the upcoming movie. Also, I will be making some brief honorable mentions about questions that I would want to know but did not make it to the list. Ready? Let's begin. Number 5. The Loop and the Timescape. Yeah, I know, these are 2 different subjects and can be considered as 2 different questions. But because these are topics that have been overused for several years and they are kind of linked, I put them together. Also, because of the fact that they have been overused in several theories, articles, essays, and videos, I have lost some interest on the subject over time. And that is why I put them at the bottom of the list. Now, the loop theory is still a theory. As time of posting, no official source has confirmed it yet. Yes, we have had some hints here and there throughout the movies. Also, are subject to multiple fan theories. And to be frank, it seems like the story is heading towards that direction, but that does not make it a fact, at least not yet. Now, the only major storyline that has openly used the loop is Sadamoto's manga, as in the epilogue chapters we can see a rebirth of society in the same universe as in the end of Evangelion. But the epilogue of the manga is considered a bonus, an extra. And Sadamoto himself has openly confirmed that he used some assets of the story just for fun and fan service, to the point that in some cases he used some of those assets without Anno's authorization, as this is in fact Sadamoto's take on the story. Is the loop theory in the Rebuild continuity a fact, and it connects the story to the original TV story, thus making it a sequel to the end of Evangelion? And if so, how does it work? And which storyline then can be considered the origin of the loop? Those are the questions that I have on this topic. Regarding the timescape, we know something really important happened between the second and third movie, and still we have many questions about it. I mean, of course it did. The third impact happened on this missing time frame. The only detail that we know for sure on how the third impact developed was Mark 6 merging with Lily, and that he used one Spirit of Longinus and possibly the Spirit of Cautious, as Kaoru was for certain to find there. This is utterly important as the last time we saw the Spirit of Cautious in the films, Kaoru used it to stop the near third impact. During this time frame, we had another angel, the 11th, that never appeared on screen, as we went from the 10th to the 12th. Also, during this period, it seems that other EVAs were active, as we are missing some given their numerical designation. Not to mention Toji's possible role on these events, as Shinji do use his uniform in Q, which might be a reference on a theoretical Toji state on Nerf's headquarters. I expect this to be clarified on the upcoming movie. For more speculations on this topic, you can watch my timescape video. Number 4. Reys' final outcome and the Ayanami series. We know from the original lore that Rey is a clone between Yui and Lily, so when Rey Quantum appeared for the first time in the first movie, we were not surprised by it, as we were already familiar with the multiple Reys lore. However, in Q, we hear for the first time the term Ayanami series. Reys' lore in the first 2 movies is pretty similar to the original storyline. There are some differences though. One is that Rei's last name is now the same as Yui's, as the later one was replaced from Ikari to Ayanami. This translated to Gendo's last name that went from the original Rokobungi to Ikari, that in the original lore came from his wife's name. On the first movie we see Shinji's vision, in which Yui and Gendo are discussing their unborn child's possible name. If a girl, it will be Rei. If a boy, then Shinji. Therefore, now we know the origins of Rei's name. We do not know, however, which Rei is this one, as we never get to see Rei 1. We know that Rei died at the end of the second movie, but her soul remained within Unit 1 as Shinji tried to save her. However, it seems like this same Rei have tried to make contact with Shinji as he can hear her voice in his head on the first act of Rebuild Q. The audience then is led to believe that it's Rei Q who is talking to him, as she appeared on board of Mark 9 to take him away. To be clear, I do believe that the voice that Shinji hears in his head on this sequence is the Rei he tried to save, not Rei Q, but that is open to speculations. It is worth noting, however, that the only thing, other than Shinji, that was managed to be recovered from Unit 1 after Operation Oz was Shinji's SDAT. Perhaps here is where Rei's soul resides and the medium from which she is trying to communicate with Shinji. Although it is true that it's not until later that Kaoru manages to fix the SDAT. Regarding the Yanami series, we are led to believe that Fuyutsuki is in charge of it, as he is the one that introduces it to Shinji. How many Reys were produced after the original died is unknown. We do see multiple heads though. How many survived the process is also unknown. Kaoru confirms that her soul resides on another place, which means that Rei Q is just a soulless doll. Rei's outcome. How many Reys are actually in the Rebuild continuity and the full purpose of the Yanami series are the questions that I expect the movie to answer on this topic. Number 3. Shinji's red eyes. At the end of Rebuild's second movie, Shinji is being defeated by the 10th Angel, but suddenly he recharges and displays red eyes. At this point, the Nerve personnel warns that if he goes deeper into the core of Unit 1, his human form will cease to exist. So, it is totally possible that Shinji crossed the point of no return, as his soul has emerged as one comparable to a deity. Remember, death and rebirth is a recurring theme in the Evangelion universe. This could explain how Misato and Wily treat him as an unknown entity on Rebuild Q, as they are not sure if this person is the real Shinji anymore, as they put the DSS choker to control him. DSS stands for Deity Shutdown System, which means that as far as Wily is concerned, Shinji should be treated as a non-human creature, or a meta-human at best. There are only two characters in the story that have red eyes, Kaoru and Rei, who are the personification of Adam, or the first angel, and Lilith, both deity in nature. Also, Lilith herself showed red eyes on the first movie. Shinji's red eyes didn't make an appearance on Rebuild Q, but for the One Last Kiss trailer, Shinji's eyes changed color again, this time a violet blue, or a light purple. The only time we have seen this shade of eyes on any of the movies was at the very end of Rebuild's second movie, on the preview section of the film, when we are shown multiple Reys with similar eye colors. Notice how these Reys are in front of a wall made of angel ceiling hex glyphs. These glyphs could be what makes their eye color change. Some have speculated that Shinji's eyes are a combination of the souls that reside in him, which could mean that Rei's actual soul is within him during the events of 3+1. Others go even further and say that also Kaoru is inside him. Yeah, but that is going to be potentially explained by the upcoming movie. However, it does not explain the origins of Shinji's red eyes. Is Shinji a human? A god? What's up with the eye colors? Are the questions that I have regarding this matter. Number 2. Mari Wily Kaji connection. Mari made her first appearance on Rebuild's second movie, very early I should add, and she appears sporadically throughout it. Also, she plays a major role on the third act of the film. Mari makes a comeback on Rebuild Q, where it seems she is more integrated with Asuka, as if they have known each other for a while. I mean, 14 years working together is more than enough to know a person, right? But also, our beloved German redhead originally comes from the European branch of NERV before being transferred to Japan, and Mari is from the UK, so they might have met each other over there. Mari's national origin is one of the few things we know about her. Also, that she worked for NERV as she does fight the third angel on the Bethany base at the South Pole. But other than that, we haven't had a proper development on the character. And basically, this is it. If they do not develop Mari's character in 3+1, then it's over. They will have to do it through supplemental reading material and video games, like they have done with multiple subjects on the past. So, one of my biggest expectations regarding the upcoming film is that we get some background and some development on this character. Wily origins are also pretty much unknown. It has been theorized that it is an organization that came from or that is subject to the International Environmental Agency, who is in charge of preserving the oceanic life in the planet. Basically, the aquarium where Kaji takes the children in Rebuild's second movie. This may explain why Wily is represented by the color blue, the natural color of the ocean. Kaji might have taken the children there for the agencies to study them, as they go through a lot of screening before entering the facilities. All of this is speculation, of course, so be aware of that. Regarding the Kaji-Mari connection, we know that they do know each other, as both were on the Bethany base. That is a fact. However, who sent Mari to Japan is also open to speculations. It can be argued that was Kaji, and was Kaji who provided her with the codes needed to infiltrate NERV's headquarters and reach Unit 2. When Mari landed in Japan, she takes a phone call, and in the original Japanese language version of the film, the dialogue during this phone call is in English. The rest of Mari's dialogue is in Japanese. So, Mari is pretty much bilingual. Who was Mari talking over the phone? Kaji perhaps? But why she talks to Kaji in English? Well, maybe for Shinji not to understand the conversation. Also worth noting that after her appearance on this scene, Shinji's SDAT shows the number 27. On the original TV story there were only 26 episodes, and the number 27 might represent a disruption of the continuity, which happened just when Mari arrived to Japan. Finally, Kaji's fate. We know what happened to Kaji in the original TV story, however, in Rebuild, is currently unknown. His name is only mentioned once in Rebuild Q, and we have no other hints about his whereabouts. I do expect Kaji to make a comeback in 3+1, thus one of the major reveals on the film. Who is Mari? What is Wily and their ultimate purpose? And what is Kaji's fate? Are the questions that I have regarding this subject. So, we made it through 4 questions on the list, but before getting to the final and major questions that I have and hope to be addressed on 3+1, let's go over some honorable mentions. Number 1. Asuka. That's it. Asuka is the whole question. There's so many questions regarding Asuka in this continuity that I don't even know where to start. Wait, I know. How about we start with her name, as she's not Soryu anymore, but Shikinami. Is this really that important? Well, yes it is. If not, they wouldn't have changed it. The origins of Asuka's name, as well as other characters in the story, come from a ship or a fleet. This is a well-documented fact. The original Soryu name is related to a Japanese air carrier that was deployed on World War II. The Langley portion of the name is another air carrier, this one American, also from World War II. So now the Soryu has been replaced with Shikinami, which is of course another type of ship, this time a Japanese destroyer. The Shikinami was sister of another destroyer, the Ayanami. Both vessels are from the same class of destroyer, the Ayanami class. Now we know that Rei is Ayanami, which is not only the name of the class, but also another destroyer of the class. Furthermore, Makinami, Mari's last name, is also part of the Ayanami class. But who is the other Ayanami in the story? If you answer Yui, that is correct. I mean, we just talked about that. And Yui is Shinji's mother, which makes him pretty much an Ayanami. So now all of our pilots have ship references from the same class in their names, which may indicate that the four of them are the same. The four Adam souls, perhaps? Now that is a real question. How about we follow up with her relationship with dolls? I just made an in-depth analysis of original episodes 25 and 26 and talked extensively on how Asuka's mother replaced her with a doll. Asuka hates dolls so much that she uses the noun as an insult in the original story, as she refers to Rei as a doll. Now, all of a sudden, she loves dolls. She's carrying one all around the second movie, so what up with that? Let's go over her eye patch. Now we know that something happened to Asuka during Unit 3 incident, and it seemed that she was being absorbed by the unit. Something similar to what happened to Shinji aboard Unit 1. She was going too deep and getting close to the core. After that, we only see her with an eye patch. Well, the eye patch has a purpose, as it seems like it hides a secret. When we see it shine on Reveal Q, we can clearly see how an angel hex glyph glows. Is this glyph on her eye, or is it on her eye patch? Well, I don't know, haven't seen beneath it, at least not yet. Either way, the glyph on her eye has a purpose, and might have been used to contain Asuka's full potential, as she could have turned into a deity as well. I hope this is clarified. Finally, during the climax of Reveal Q, Asuka treats Shinji like a spoiled brat, not an enemy. Why? He's about to end the world, which leads me to believe that Asuka had an experience with Shinji that we haven't seen yet. An experience on which Asuka believes that Shinji is doing what he's doing selfishly, as like he knows what he's doing and is doing it to benefit himself. Also, I may add, she and Mary insist on the question on why he did not save Asuka. Wait, what? You mean during the EVA 3 incident? As he did nothing to save Asuka while he almost causes the end of the world saving Rei? Or there is something else? Phew, we made it to the end of the list. There you have it, guys. Those are the things that I expect 3+1 to clarify. Do I expect to have an answer to all of those questions? Well, no, not really. This is Evangelion, Anno's biggest puzzle, as we have to put it together ourselves. However, I do believe that many will be addressed, and also to those that are not, we will receive some hints or clues to develop our theories. So, what is on your list? Let us know down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Yell at me at Twitter anytime you like, and as always, I wish you all a wonderful day.